The human body is made up of many different kinds of bones. The one portrayed here is a long bone. The expanded ends of the long bone are called epiphysis. Their exterior is made up of compact bone, while the interior is made up of spongy bone. The tubular shaft in the middle of the long bone is called the diaphysis. This is composed of compact bones surrounding the medullary cavity. The medullary cavity, which is in the center of the diaphysis, contains yellow bone marrow in adults. The yellow bone marrow is depicted in green in this image and consists of adipose cells, which function as fat storage. Another important structure of the long bone is the epiphyseal line. This separates the diaphysis from the epiphyses in adults and also is called the growth plate in children. Compact bone is the dense outer layer of long bones, while the spongy bone is the softer inner layer. The spongy bone has a honeycomb appearance. The holes in it are called trabeculi. The trabeculi have bone marrow between them. This bone marrow is red bone marrow, which consists of hematopoietic tissue that functions in the production of blood cells. The long bone is also covered with a double-layer protective bone membrane called the periosteum. The periosteum is secured to an underlying bone by Sharpey's fibers and is supplied with nerve fibers, blood vessels, and lymphatic vessels. The endosteum is another bone membrane that covers the internal surface of the bones. Articular cartilage is covering the outer joint surface of the epiphyses. Growth in the length of long bones occurs due to the cartilage continually growing and being replaced by bone. This is what happens when you grow in height. Remodeling in long bones occurs when the bone is broken down and then added to. This is when you gain weight or lose weight. Bone remodeling uses two units, osteoblasts and osteoclasts. Osteoblasts build up the bone. Osteoclasts break down the bone. Bone deposition is when bone is being added, which is accomplished by osteoblasts. This occurs where bone is injured or added, strengthening when it's needed. Bone resorption is the breakdown of bone, which is accomplished by osteoclasts. The osteoclasts break down the bone by secreting lysosomal enzymes that digest the bone matrix. The regulation of bone remodeling is controlled by the hormonal mechanism. The hormonal mechanism maintains calcium homeostasis in the blood. Falling blood calcium levels creates an imbalance. When this imbalance occurs, shown in blue, it signals the parathyroid gland to release PTH. PTH is the parathyroid hormone. The release of PTH signals osteoclasts to degrade bone matrix. This breakdown releases calcium into the blood. Once calcium is released into the blood, the levels will return to homeostasis. Rising blood calcium levels can also cause an imbalance, shown in red. When this type of imbalance occurs, it triggers the thyroid to release calcitonin. The calcitonin that is released stimulates calcium salt deposits in the bone. This process uses osteoblasts to add bone, resulting in homeostasis. There are 4 stages to do with the healing of a fractured bone. The first stage of formation is a hematoma, which we usually refer to as a bruise. During this first step, blood vessels are broken or torn, and this causes blood clots to form, causing the hematoma. The second stage is when the fibrocartilaginous callus forms. Just within a few short days, a new blood vessel grows into the clot, while the chondroblast and fibroblast come into the fracture site. They produce collagen fibers as well as chondrolatinous matrix that produce the break and connects the broken ends, which is referred to as fibrinogenous cell. The third stage is identified when a bony callus forms. This bony callus replaces the fibrocartilaginous callus by first having the osteoblast form spongy bone. As time goes by, the fibrocartilaginous callus is fully replaced by immature bone, converting it to a bony hard callus. The fourth and final stage identifies the bone being completely remodeled. After several months, this bony callus is completely remodeled and the compact bone is laid down. Once this remodeling is complete, it will be perfectly resemble the original unbroken bone.